Okay guys, a very good morning to one and all. So this is the class 6 of financial accounting. So till now we have seen all the basics. So we have learned the modern approach. So how to write the journal entries, and once again we have discussed. Then after, in the previous class we have seen the subsidiary books. So what are the subsidiary books we have learned ma? Purchase book, sales book, purchase returns, sales returns. So generally the journal is subdivided into how many parts? Two parts. What are the two parts ma? Special journal and journal. So general journal is nothing but what ma? Journal proper. So journal proper is format like a same journal entries. The transactions which are not recorded in the subsidiary books will be recorded in the journal proper. Okay, as of now, leave it about all the things. So we are going to see the one of the important chapter, capital and revenue transactions. The weightage of this concept is equal to 7 plus 2 marks. The total 9 marks. Very important and easy to understand. Okay. So first of all, in this chapter we are going to learn what is the meaning of capital expenditure, what is the meaning of revenue expenditure, deferred revenue expenditure, and then after capital receipt and revenue receipt. They will give the transactions, just we have to identify whether it is a capital or revenue, and we have to write the reason. Okay, now they will give 4 transactions for 7 marks like that. Next, so see my introduction. So there is a concept as per GAAP, you know, what is the meaning of GAAP ma? Generally accepted accounting principles. So based on this, we are having the rules and regulations. In that, one of the rule is called as what ma? Going concern concept. So what is the meaning of going concern ma? Do you have any idea? Going concern. Business will be in a forever, in the foreseeable future, without any barriers. So see this one. Once see the sentence, business may go on forever in a foreseeable future without any barriers. So what is the reason ma? Based on that, the business will be running so next year also. This is called as foreseeable future. Nothing but, you know, two types of years will be there. One is a financial year, one is a calendar year. So what is the financial year ending ma? 31st March. What is the calendar year ending? 31st December. So for example, 31st March 2024, our financial year will be completed. The business will be there from here to next 1 year ma. What is the end of the 1 year from the date of 31st March 2024? 31st March 2025. In this year also, the business will be there. That is the assumption based on we are taking what ma? Going concern assumption. Barrier means without any uncertainty. Okay na? Without barrier, with barrier amma. Without barrier. So there should not be any uncertainty. The business will be there in the next year also. Okay na? So this is based on that. The transactions are divided into, based on which principle ma? Based on going concern assumption, the transactions are divided into 2 types. First one is called as what ma? Capital transaction, and second one is a revenue transaction. So what is the meaning of capital transactions, sir? If any transaction happen, nothing but sale of goods, purchase of goods, like that, one of the transaction, based on that transaction, if the benefit is more, then it is called as what ma? Capital transaction. The benefit we are getting in a next year also, that means the type of transactions are called as what ma? Capital transaction. If the benefit is not going to get in the next year, those type of transactions are called as what ma? Revenue transactions. For example, we have purchased one asset. Okay na? Asset means, if you take example, we have purchased the air conditioner. Okay na? We have purchased the laptop, camera, and all of this. So by way of using this type of products, we are getting a benefit more than 1 year or less than 1 year ma? More than 1 year. In the next year also we are going to get the benefit based on this. So that is the reason purchase of asset is called as a which type of transaction ma? Capital transaction or revenue transaction? Capital transaction. Sale of goods is a which type of transaction? Benefit will be more than 1 year? No, just Now only will be completed. Paying salary to the employee. Okay, now if you pay the salary to the employee, the benefit we are going to get how much? 1 month. Okay, now if you are not going to pay the salary in the next month, the employee will work, will not work, he will not work. He will left of the organization. That is the reason payment of salary is a which type of transaction, ma? Revenue transactions. So till now we have seen what, ma? The chapter. So what is the chapter base? Which assumption is the chapter base, ma? Going concern concept. So next, see, ma, expenditure. What is the meaning of expenditure, sir? An amount spent for running the business organization is an expenditure. If you spend any amount for the purpose of business, it is called as expenditure. Also known as expired cost. Also known as what, ma? Expenditure. Another name is expired cost, because already work will be happened. We are paying what, ma? We are paying the cash. So again, these expenditures are classified into how many types, ma? 3 types: capital, revenue, and deferred revenue expenses. We have to discuss what is the meaning of capital expenditure, what is the meaning of revenue expenditure, and what is the meaning of deferred revenue expenses. So easy to understand. So first we are going to discuss the capital expenditure. So what they are saying, ma? Any expenditure incurred and the benefit of greater than 1 year, such expenditure are as follows. That means what, ma? How many types of expenditures they have given? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Only these 5 type of expenditures are going to call it as what, ma? Capital expenditure. Remaining expenditure are going to classify into how many types, ma? 2 types: revenue expenditure and deferred revenue expenditure. So if you understand the capital expenditure, it is easy to understand the revenue and deferred revenue. So what is the first type of expenditure, ma? Acquisition of an asset. So already we have discussed. What is the meaning of acquisition, ma? Purchase. So purchase of an asset is nothing but what? Capital expenditure, because what is the main point, ma, here? Benefit greater than 1 year and for the purpose of asset, then it is called as what, ma? Capital expenditure. So we have purchased one air conditioner, that is called as, so incurred 30,000 rupees for the air conditioner. That is an expenditure, or that is an income? Expenditure. But the benefit more than 1 year or less than 1 year? Benefit more than 1 year. This is a capital expenditure. Next one, any expenditure incurred for bringing the asset into the current location or condition. So what is the meaning of current location, sir? Go down or workshop. What is the meaning of condition? Should be in a passive use but not in a active use. So up to ready to use, we have to incur the certain expenditure. For example, we have purchased one air conditioner, cost is equal to 50,000, ma. How much? What is the air conditioner cost? 50,000. So how we can bring the air conditioner, ma? Through the transport, either auto rickshaw, something. So we are paying 1,000 rupees for the auto rickshaw. Okay, na? And then after, you are paying some amount for the installation. Without installation, we can use the product, we cannot use the product. Without installation, we cannot use the product. So we are paying 5,000 rupees for the installation also. So what is the total amount, ma, now? 56,000. Now what they are saying means, not only the acquisition cost we are going to consider it as a capital expenditure, you have to consider what, ma? Acquisition cost plus up to put to use whatever the expenditure you have incurred. This 5,000 plus 1,000 is also consider it as what, ma? Capital expenditure or revenue expenditure? Capital expenditure. Now we are going to say what is your total cost of that particular asset, means 50,000 or 56,000? 56,000. So totally we are going to call it as capital expenditure. Next one, any expenditure incurred for renovation or extension of an existing asset. For example, we have seen this is a GRR complex. So we are having how many floors? 3 floors. Okay, na? This is a 2nd floor, 3rd floor. So suppose we are going to construct the 5th floor, 4th and 5th. Okay, na? On the current building. Already for the construction of existing 3 floors, we have incurred 50 lakh rupees. How much we have incurred, ma? 50 lakhs. So we are going to construct another 2 floors. Okay, now we are going to incur another 30 lakhs. Okay, na? This 30 lakh is also called as capital expenditure or revenue expenditure, ma? Capital expenditure. Because why we are incurring the that 30 lakhs ma, because for extension of an existing asset. This GRR complex is an asset or liability amma for us, asset. So we are going to increase our extending, we are going to extension of an existing asset. How much we have incurred? Again 30 lakhs. What is your total value of asset now? 80 lakhs. Okay na? So the capital expenditure means nothing but extension also. Next one, renovation. So we are going to see certain types of renovations, like old cinema hall will be renovated as a new cinema hall, or increasing the seating capacity. Okay na? We are generally seeing such type of seating capacity increases in the cafes. Okay na? Normally the cafes will start in a small rooms. Okay na? So 1 table, 2 tables will be there. Then after knowing to all the people, what they will do ma, they will go there. So the seating capacity will be sufficient or will not be sufficient? Will not be sufficient. What the shop owners will do ma, they are going to increase the seating capacity. Increasing the seating capacity means they have to construct another building nearby. So extension or renovation is also forming part of capital expenditure. We have to add back to the existing asset. Are you getting the point or not? So first, initially we are going to have only 50,000 ma. Then after we have to add what ma? The expenditure incurred for put to use. Up to put to use, whatever the expenditure you incurred, those expenditure what we need to do? We need to add back. We need to add back to the existing asset value. And then after, extension also. Extensioning means what we are doing ma? Already for the existing building only we are doing what ma? Extensions. So that means what we have to do ma? The extension cost also we have to add back to the current asset value. So these are all the things what we need to do ma? We need to add or we need to less? We need to add back to the existing asset. So next one, expenses incurred and decreasing the operating cost. So for example, have you seen the Gautam SSC film? Gautam SSC, Navadeep as a hero. Okay na? In that Gautam SSC, Navadeep are going to invented some quad writer like. Okay na? If you fix that one, our mileage will be increases. Our bike mileage. Normally, what is the meaning of mileage means? So 1 liter. Normally in a bike of bullet like that, if you expenditure for 1 liter petrol, you can travel for 30 kilometers. You can travel for how many kilometers ma? 30. Here 30 kilometers is nothing but mileage. Nothing but what ma? Mileage. Okay na? But there is a one spare part. There is a one spare part. If you fix that spare part for the bullet, what the capacity will be increases. Normally how many kilometers we can travel for 1 liter ma? 1 liter cost is equal to, let us take it as 100. Okay, for 100 rupees how many kilometers you can travel? 30. After fixing that one, so if you expenditure for 1 liter petrol, you can travel for 60 kilometers. How many kilometers you can travel? 60. So that means our mileage increases, here cost also increases. Now in order to travel for 30 kilometers, how much expenditure will be incurred? Normally 100 rupees. Now 50 rupees only will be considered for traveling the 30 kilometers. Are you getting the point or not? So increasing expenditure incur for decreasing the operating cost. That means which cost we have to add back to the existing asset ma? That spare part cost you have to add back to the existing asset. Guys, are you getting the point or not? So once again I am repeating. Normally how much is the cost incurred for traveling of 30 kilometers ma? 100 rupees. But after fixing that spare part, what you can do ma? You can travel 30 some more 30 kilometers. Now the cost will be increases or decreases? Decreases. Operating cost means daily cost. Whatever the day-to-day business cost is called as operating cost. So that spare part cost is equal to 1 lakh. What is the spare part cost ma? 1 lakh. That 1 lakh we have to add back to the existing asset. Are you getting the point or not? Now normally the bullet cost is equal to 2 lakhs. Now another 1 lakh we are going to add. What is the total cost of the bullet? 3 lakhs. So like that you have to take. Next one, expenditure incurred and the benefit in everlasting in nature. Some more any expenditure incurred, benefit is more than 1 year. That too related to what ma? Fixed asset is called as a capital expenditure. I think you know. Assets are divided into how many types ma? 2 types. First one is called as current asset, non-current asset. Non-current asset is also called it as fixed asset. Why we are going to call it as the fixed asset ma? Benefit more than 1 year. Why we are going to call it as current asset? Benefit less than 1 year. That is the reason. Okay. Now only this type of expenditures we are going to consider it as capital expenditure. Remaining we may consider it as revenue expenditure or deferred revenue expenses. To conclude, what I am saying is, any expenditure, nothing but if you take a balance sheet asset side, asset side we have to record the capital expenditure. Where we need to record balance sheet asset side. Normally you are going to think that balance sheet liability side. No, balance sheet asset side. We are incurring this type of expenditure in order to acquire the fixed asset. So that is the reason this capital expenditure will be disclosed under the balance sheet asset side. What are the item of expenditure are disclosed in the trading account and P&L account debit side now? Those are called it as revenue expenditure. Nothing but salary, rent, okay na, electricity payment, okay na. So tax payments, all these type of expenditures are called as what ma? Revenue expenditure, because benefit more than 1 year, less than 1 year, less than 1 year. So now, can I ask you something? The capital expenditure will be disclosed under asset side of balance sheet. The revenue expenditure will be disclosed under debit side of P&L account or trading account. If it is a direct, trading account. If it is an indirect, P&L account. I think already you know now. Okay, even though you don't know, we can discuss again in the final accounts. So, is it fine ma till now? So we have started with the discussion of going concern. So based on that, how many types of transactions are there? 2 types: capital transaction, revenue transaction. Now in that capital, what is the general meaning of capital transaction ma? Benefit more than 1 year. What is the general meaning of the revenue transaction? Benefit less than 1 year. So what are the type of expenditures are called as capital expenditure ma? Acquisition of an asset, expenditure incurred to bring the asset into the current location or condition, expenditure incurred for renovation or extension. Next one, expenditure incurred for decreasing the operating cost, or any expenditure incurred benefiting everlasting in nature, is all called as what ma? Capital expenditure. So if you remember the examples, the concept will be remembered. Okay na, you no need to mug up this all the things. Okay na. So for me, I am having a 4 years of experience, I can remember this one. Okay na. I am not saying to remember like this. So you have to remember with the examples. What is the first example we have taken? First point, purchase of an asset, purchase of air conditioner. Okay now, what is the second example? Installation and transportation cost. What is the third example? GRR complex. Okay now, third floor, fourth floor and fifth floor. And next one, seating capacity increases. So in my childhood days, there will be a internet cafes. Okay now, nowadays it is easy to usage of what ma? Usage of these computers. But in my olden days, in my childhood days, for the using of computer, we have to go somewhere. Okay now, especially the internet points, cafes are there now. Nowadays those are not popular, but in my days those are very popular. And there may be something WW games will be there. Okay now, in order to play the video games also, we have to go somewhere and we have to play. But nowadays there is a PlayStations and all the innovated items are coming to the picture. So next, coming to the revenue expenditure. So what is the meaning of revenue expenditure ma? To conclude, an expenditure other than capital expenditure is called as a revenue expenditure. In general, only in some situations only we are going to have the deferred revenue expenditure. I am going to explain those also. So generally there is a direct expenses, there is a indirect expenses. So this total classification we have done as per the costing. Okay na, in the revenue expenditure only there are some types of expenditure like direct and indirect. This is basically done through Atma costing. You don't need to remember this all the things. Okay na, expenditure we are going to incur for expenditure incurred and the benefit is derived less than 1 year. Such expenditure is as follows. First one, what ma? Any expenditure incurred for production activity. Okay now, you know the production activities. What is the meaning of production activities? If you take an example, any manufacturing industries, let us, in order to manufacture a cloth, so what is the raw material will be used for the manufacture of a cloth ma? Thread. Okay na, first cotton, they will take the cotton, from cotton to threads, thread to colored threads, and the colored thread to what ma? Cloth. So like that they are going to make the step of the process. In that, what are the costs you have incurred for production of a cloth is called as a production expenditure. Is called as, you know, not for the purchase. In order to production of cloth, we have to use what machineries. Purchase of machinery is a capital expenditure. Only for production purpose, we are going to incur two types of expenditure. What are the two types of expenditure? Direct expenses, indirect expenses. What is the meaning of direct expenditure? Means, if you see in a particular product, imagine if you see in a remote, so by way of seeing, we can identify some of the cost we have incurred. Can you identify what are the costs we have incurred for manufacture of a remote? Plastic. There is a plastic and there is a rubber here. For the buttons we have used what rubber. So, and only plastic and rubber we can identify. And there is a printing cost will be incurred. There is a printing cost. So these are all called as what direct expenditure. But there is a labor has to work on it. For payment of labor wages is also called as what direct expenditure. Okay, in order to manufacture this one, what we need to require we need a building, we need a machinery. Okay, now for the building we are paying the rent. For the building and machineries we are paying what rent. That rent is called as indirect expenses. Okay, now ultimately whether it is direct or whether it is indirect, totally we are going to consider it as what revenue expenditure. Okay, now this direct and indirect from whose point of view? Costing point of view, we required or we not required? We required for the preparation of trading and for the preparation of P&L account. To conclude, ultimately what ultimately all the expenditure, whether it is a direct expenditure or indirect expenditure, revenue expenditure or capital expenditure? Revenue expenditure. Okay, now are you getting the point or not? What are the examples? Raw material consumed, direct labor cost and direct other costs. Next one, indirect material. Okay, now next, indirect labor and indirect other expenses. For example, if you take the gatekeeper of the factory, so he is also worked for the production of this particular product. Yes, he is also worked, but we are paying that is not a direct cost, that is a indirect cost. Okay, now so next one, any expenditure incurred for day-to-day activities such as administration expenses. Okay, now imagine the Shikhara is going to have the two types of buildings. In one of the buildings, we used to take what admissions. Okay, na? So the cost which are incurred for that building, we are paying the rent, electricity, and payment to the salaries of admin staff. All this called as what administration expenses. And next one, selling and distribution. In order to run a college, okay, we need a marketing. Without the marketing, we cannot go somewhere and we can do the businesses like that. So through the market, we are going to the colleges, we are giving the demos, and we are receiving the data from the colleges, and we are making the telecalling for in order to gather the students. So for that purpose, we have to pay salaries to the employees, and there may be for traveling from here to there, we need a car. Okay, now for that car, we may purchase that car, or we may take the rent, or there may be a petrol cost. All these costs we are going to consider it as what selling and distribution expenses. And next one, financial expense. Financial expense means nothing but in order to run a business, we have taken a loan from the bank. On that loan, we are paying a interest on that. So that interest cost is going to get as what financial expenses. And asset maintenance expenses. In order to maintenance of assets, we used to do what servicing like that. For the servicing, we used to pay the amount. There may be a sometime repair cost will be there. So next one, non-cash expenses is nothing but depreciation. So depreciation is a non-cash expenditure. So to conclude, overall, we have seen the different types of expenses, but all are covering under which head? Revenue expenditure. To simplify, other than capital expenditure is called as what revenue expenses. In that revenue, we are having how many categories? Direct expenses, indirect expenses, administration expenses, selling and distribution, financial, and then after asset maintenance and non-cash expenses. Is there any doubts, So by way of seeing the question, you can understand. Okay. So next one, deferred revenue expenses. This will be somewhat interesting. So please be very focused for 10 minutes. The concept will be completed as so far. Deferred revenue expenditure, any expenditure incurred which the nature is a revenue but the benefit is more than 1 year. That particular expenditure, for looking only, there may be a revenue, but the benefit we are going to get what ma? More than 1 year. Sir, benefit getting more than 1 year, that is related to fixed asset means that is a capital, that is a capital expenditure, that should be related to fixed asset. Okay now. So here, see the examples ma. Underwriting commission. What is this one ma? Underwriting commission. Do you know what is the meaning of underwriter? Okay. I think let us take one example of company. I think you know the Reliance Limited. Who is the head of the Reliance Limited? Mukesh Ambani, Dhirubhai Ambani. First Dhirubhai Ambani. So for the Dhirubhai Ambani, having how many children? 2. Mukesh Ambani and Anil Ambani. Okay na? Okay, whatever it is. Okay, Reliance company is there ma. Reliance want to explore. Okay na? Nowadays the Reliance is everywhere. Okay na? Nothing but Jio. Nothing but what ma? Jio. They are starting what ma? Mobile recharges. They come to the telecom sector. They are in the grocery sector. Okay na? Lord, huh? So now they want to explore somewhere about the motor field like that. Okay na? So they used to manufacture a 2-wheeler and they used to manufacture what ma? 4-wheeler something. So for that we require a funda. We know it. We should have the funda. Without the fund we can explore ma. We should have the fund. So let us imagine 100 CR we want. How much ma? 100 CR. This 100 CR, one person he can affordable. One person cannot affordable. That is the reason what we are saying. We are dividing this 100 crores. We are dividing this 100 crores into a 1000 parts. Into how many parts ma? 1000. So divided by 1000 means how much we are going to get? 10 crores. 10 lakhs. How much ma? 10 lakhs. The each part cost is equal to 10 lakhs. Even though it is not affordable, okay, we can take like that. This 100,000 parts na. This each part we are going to call it as share. Okay na? How many shares we are having? 100,000 shares. How many shares we are having ma? 1000 share. Okay na? Who will purchase the shares ma? Shareholders. Okay na? If we purchase the share means we are the shareholder. You purchase it means you are the shareholder. Okay na? Where we can purchase? Vegetables are going to purchase in a vegetable market. So shares are going to purchase in a share market. Okay na? The share markets we are having in India, NSE and BSE. National Stock Exchange, Bombay Stock Exchange. Stock means not only the shares na. Shares will be there, debentures will be there. So many types of securities will be there in a form of digital format. Okay na? Digital gold also we can purchase. Okay. So same like that. 2 types of stock exchanges will be there. In these stock exchanges, first Reliance have to be listed. Reliance have to be listed. That means the Reliance have to be registered in the which 2 exchanges ma? NSE and BSE. Then what the Reliance can do ma? They can issue the shares to the public. They can issue the shares to the public. So how much capital they have gone to the public ma? For the 1000 crores. They need to receive minimum 90% from the public. So 90% means how much ma? The 100 crores into 90%, that is equal to 90 CR. Okay na? 90 CR. Minimum 90 CR we have to receive from the public. Otherwise, we have to repay all the amount what we have received. Imagine you have received only how much ma? 80 CR. So but minimum how much you need to receive? 90%. This is called as minimum subscription. This is called as what ma? Minimum subscription. So you have not received 90 crores, you have received only 80 crores na. So repay all this amount to the public. It is a difficult task na. So that is the reason, in order to give the security, so if the public is not taking the securities, I will take the securities on behalf of Reliance company. So one person is going to come. Okay na? Wait a second. Seema, who is this fellow? We used to call in the second group, this fellow name is Gundu fellow. Okay, what he is saying ma, wait, thoda time wait karo, thoda sabar karo. Okay, I am giving the security. Even though you have got how much? 80 crores na, I will take the remaining amount. What is the remaining amount ma? 20 crores. The 20 crores will be taken by whom? Will be taken by this person. This person we used to call it as what ma? Underwriter. Okay, not the Gundu fellow. Who is that person ma? Underwriter. So for giving the security na, so that is the reason what we need to pay. We need to pay the commission. Okay na. So even though not only this difference, okay, we may receive 70 crores, we may receive only 60 crores. The remaining amount used to take by whom? Underwriter. That is the reason we have to pay the commission. So paying a commission is looking like a what ma? Looking like a revenue expenditure. Normal commission payment is a revenue, but the benefit we are getting more than 1 year. Okay na? This is an expenditure on the liability. Expenditure we are incurring on asset, expenditure we are incurring on liability. Expenditure we are incurring on liability. So this is a deferred revenue expenses. Okay. How we have to do the accounting treatment of deferred revenue expenditure means, let us imagine we are going to get the benefit 5 years. How much benefit we are getting ma? 5 years. So we are paying commission ma, only commission I am going to call it as. So we are paying 10% commission. Okay, generally the 10% commission we have to calculate on the issue amount. What is the issue amount ma? 100 CR. Okay, let us take it as 10% commission. That is equal to how much? 10 CR. How much commission we are paying? 10 CR. So benefit is more than 1 year or less than 1 year ma? More than 1 year. Let us take it as 5 years. They will give in the question. So 10 CR divided by 5. That is equal to how much ma? 2 CR. Okay, each year how much amount of expenditure we have to recognize in a P&L account ma? We have to recognize in a P&L account 2 CR. Then remaining 8 CR sir will be available in the balance sheet asset side. Will be available in the balance sheet asset side. In the next year ma, 2 crores will be transferred to P&L account debit side, and remaining how much will be there? 6 lakhs will be available in the balance sheet asset side. And the next year 2, 4. Next year 2. That next year ma 2, 0. Guys, are you getting it or not? So once again I will explain, no problem. So this is the first example. You can understand only this one. Okay, next one. This type of expenditure is also same like a what ma? Deferred revenue expenditure. Normally up to the CMA foundation, these expenditures are classified as what ma? Deferred revenue expenditures only, because benefit is more than 1 year. For example, what is first one ma? Advertisement. We are giving the advertisement, the benefit will be more than 1 year. Okay. Next R&D, research and development. Okay na, we are incurring any amount for the research and development, the benefit will be more than 1 year or less than 1 year ma? More than 1 year. Next, preliminary expenses. What is the meaning of preliminary expenses? The expenditure we have incurred before starting of a company is called as preliminary expenses. Pre-operating expenses means any activity starting, we used to check what ma? Pre-operating expense. Like in order to test a machinery, we used to run one trial run, because how much production will be they are going to give. Okay, if you see the generally a manufacturing sector like Thumbs Up, Coca-Cola something, what they will be there ma? There will be one machinery. Okay na? Okay. In order to manufacture, there will be like a circle ma. In that circle, so first they will start with the first work, cleaning of the bottles. What they will do ma? First cleaning of the bottles. In the next point, they will be filling of the drink in the Thumbs Ups. Okay na? In the next point, they will do what ma? They will put the caps. Okay na? In the next point, they will scrutinize whether all the thing happened in a correct manner or filling correctly or like that. So same like that. How many points are there ma? 4 points. To these 4 points, the manufacturing will be run. So this is from here to, and again from here, this is called as one circle. This is called as one circle. They will do test ma. So because the manufacturing is going to done in a right manner or not, they will do the testing of the machineries. Before using a, after using a, before using. So that is called as pre-operating cost. For the trial run, we incur what ma? Electricity expenses. So because in order to run a one circle, lot of electricity consumption will be taken place, and there will be a worker ma. Each and every point they used to have what ma? Workers will be there. Okay, now for checking, for filling, like that. Even though the filling, what should be happen ma? We have to scrutinize her, we should not scrutinize her, we have to scrutinize. So that is the reason this type of expenses are called as what ma? Pre-operating expenses. And employee training expenses. Okay, now so in order to work some software, we have to give the training to that particular employee. Without giving the training, he can perform or he cannot perform. He cannot perform. That training is also for the, in order to give the training of particular employee, the employee will work for up to next year, like that. So in our organization, so all these costs are generally what ma? Deferred revenue expenses. But now, from now onwards, these expenditures we have to treat it as what ma? Revenue expenditure. Who said to treat it as revenue expenditures or means? So as per para 56 of AS 26, AS means accounting standard. So what is the AS 26 is saying? Intangible assets. About intangible assets, any expenditure incurred which are benefit is more than 1 year, nature will be what ma? Revenue. Not possible to create the asset, should be recognized as expenditure in the year in which it was incurred. In the year in which it was incurred means what ma? Revenue expenses. Incurred means what ma? Revenue expense. Even though these expenditures are deferred revenue expenditure only, what I am saying, those expenditures are deferred revenue or revenue? Deferred revenue only. But as per intangible asset standard of 26, we used to consider it as revenue expenses. Guys, okay na? So remember these points. So because in the examination they are going to test you whether it is a advertisement for the launching of a new product, also advertisement revenue expenses. Okay na? They used to confuse you. Okay na? Launching for a new product, new project we have started, we are giving the advertisement. All this type of advertisement is a revenue expenses. Normally it is a deferred revenue expenses. R&D revenue expenses, the preliminary expenses, pre-operating expenses, and employee training expenses. All these expenses are deferred revenue or revenue amma? Revenue expenses as per 26 AS of intangible assets. So remember this point. Okay na? So till now we have seen which part of the capital and revenue transactions? We have seen the expenditure part. If you know the expenditure, easily we can remember the receipt. Okay na? So is there any doubts up to here? There is no doubt. Okay. Give me 5 minutes, we can close this chapter. So next one ma. Next coming to the what ma? Receipt. The receipts are how many types? 2 types. Capital receipt and revenue receipt. What is the meaning of capital receipts, sir? Means for raising a finance or sale of a asset. Raising a finance means what ma? Taking a loan. Raising a finance means taking a loan. Sale of asset. If you sell the asset value increases or decreases? Asset value decreases. If the asset value increases, that is a capital expenditure. If the asset value decreases, that is a capital receipt. Capital receipt. Capital receipt means nothing but, so right there ma, it is a liability. Generally receipt means asset. You are going to think it as what ma? Asset, but it is not an asset, it is a liability. So next one, revenue receipt for sale of goods and rendering of services. Sale of goods and rendering of services. So these points are called as what ma? Revenue or capital? Revenue. Day-to-day businesses, how we can receive the amount ma? Through the sale of asset, or we are going to render the services means through the rendering of services. Okay na guys? Okay, liability will be appear in balance sheet or P&L account? Balance sheet. So these are the revenue. Revenue income is nothing but incomes. So income we can disclose under the trading or P&L account, credit side. Okay na? Here there is no third type of activity. So we are having the 3 types of expenditures, but only 2 types of receipts. Okay na? Normal receipts like sale of goods is called as what ma? Revenue expenditure, revenue receipt. Capital receipt means taking a loans. Okay. Recurring activity, irrecurring activity will be there. Recurring means repetitive. Repetitively we are receiving the amount means that is called as a revenue income. revenue income. Okay na. Non-repetitive means that is called as a capital receipt. Nothing but income or receipt we can consider. So see the accounting treatment ma. Capital expenditure, where we need to disclose, already we have discussed. Capital expenditure. What is the meaning of capital expenditure? For the purpose of fixed asset, where we can disclose. We can disclose in the balance sheet asset side. So it should be disclosed under the asset side of balance sheet, or already you are having the existing asset means what we can do ma? We have to add it to the concerned asset which is already disclosed in the balance sheet. Already you are having one air conditioner ma, and again you are purchasing the air conditioner. What you can do? You can add back to the cost. Already you are having one air conditioner, that cost is equal to 30 lakhs. Cost is equal to how much ma? 30 lakhs. You have purchased another air conditioner, the cost is equal to how much? 50 lakhs. Let us take this. This 50 lakhs, what you can do? You have to add back to the existing asset. If you are not having any asset like that, what you can do? You can write it separately. Write it separate. So next comes to the revenue expenditure. What is the meaning of revenue expenditure ma? Benefit more than 1 year, less than 1 year, less than 1 year. Where we can disclose? We can. It should be recognized in the debit side of either trading or P&L account. So these are the important points. So identification of capital or revenue is important. Then after accounting treatment is also important. Next one. What is this point ma? Deferred revenue expenses. Sir, why they are used to call it as deferred? Deferred means, so for recognizing of expenditure we have to wait for a years. Okay, for example, I will discuss. It should be amortized. What is the meaning of amortized? Means for minimum how many years ma? 4 to 5 years. So based on the benefit we are going to transfer to the P&L account, because basically deferred revenue expenses nature is what? Revenue. Nature is what ma? Revenue. So this type of deferred revenue expenditure, the expenditure will be more ma. The expenses will be more. Let us take it as 10 lakh expenditure you have incurred. 10 lakh expenditure. Let us take it as you have paid how much ma? You have paid this 10 lakhs to the underwriting commission. For the purpose of what ma? Underwriting. So let us imagine if you take this is a P&L account. Okay na? Visible? This is a P&L account. So in the P&L account, so debit side expenses are income ma? Expenses. Credit side ma? Income. Okay. So you are having some 15 lakhs here. Okay na? You are having some 10 lakhs here on the expenditure. What is the net profit? 5 lakhs. Okay na? How you have identified ma? Because incomes are more, expenses are more, incomes. So this is called as net profit. If you add up this 10 lakh expenditure here, if you add up this 10 lakh expenditure here, you are getting a loss or you are getting a gain? Loss. How much ma? So remove this one. Remove this one. Okay, how much loss you are going to get? 15 lakh loss. Oh, sorry guys, wait a minute. So put this expenditure on the expenditure side. Okay, now same. You are getting a loss or you are getting a gain? 5 lakh is the loss. So that is the reason if you are transferring the big expenditure in a 1 year, you are transferring the big expenditure in a 1 year to the P&L account, means what you are going to get? You are getting a loss or you are getting a gain? You are getting a loss. So that is the reason based on the benefit we are transferring to the P&L. So transferring 10 lakhs is a correct thing here. Transferring 2 lakhs is a correct. Imagine you are getting a benefit of 5 years. How much we can transfer now? So normally the revenue expenditure means where we need to disclose ma? We have to disclose in a P&L account which side? Debit side. The nature is revenue only. The nature is revenue. But what is happening? The amount is more, amount is lesser. The amount is more. So that is why we are breaking that expenditure. Okay na? We are breaking and we are dividing into how many parts? 5 parts. Okay na? Because we are getting how many years of benefit? 5 years of benefit. That is the reason what we are doing. We are postponing the amount transfer into P&L account debit side. So that is the reason we are getting a loss now. So that is the reason I am breaking based on benefit. Now I will transfer only how much? 2 lakhs here. You are going to get how? What is the gain you are getting now? 3 lakhs is the gain. Before that we are going to get the loss. So now you are going to get the gain. That is the reason what you have to do my accounting treatment. Some portion will be transferred to the P&L account debit side. Some portion we have to transfer to the asset side. That means the combination of capital expenditure, the combination of revenue expenditure, both will be there. Only one na? Both will be there. Normally capital expenditure will be disclosed under balance sheet asset side. Revenue expenditure will be disclosed under P&L account debit side. Here deferred revenue means some of the part on P&L account debit side, some part on the balance sheet asset side. The combination of both accounting treatment is nothing but what ma? Deferred revenue expenses. Guys, okay na? So what is the benefit generally used to take in the outside ma? Normally 4 to 5 years. They will give in the examination. So like that we have to put. Now out of this 10 lakhs, how much we have to transfer to the P&L account this year? 2 lakhs. And remaining amount will be available in the balance sheet. So first year how it will be ma? If you take P&L and balance sheet, first year, second year, third year, second, third and fourth. In the first year, 2 lakhs here, 8 lakhs in the balance sheet. Second year ma, 2 here, 6 here. Third year, 2 here, 4. Fourth year, 2, 2. And fifth year ma, 2, 0. Are you getting the point? Like this we have to divide. This process is called as amortization. What is the meaning of this process ma? Amortization. What is the meaning of amortization? We are postponing the amount to be transferred to which account? To be transferred to the P&L account debit side. Okay na? So see now, it should be amortized over how many years ma? Minimum 4 to 5 years. So note 1, to the extent of amortized portion, should be recognized under the debit side of P&L account. Now whatever the amount you are transferring to the P&L account na, that is called as amortization. The process is called as okay. The process is amortization. The amount is called as what ma? Amortized amount. The amount is called as amortized. To the extent of unamortized. What is the meaning of unamortized ma? The amount available in the balance sheet. The amount available in the balance sheet is called as unamortized. The amount available in the P&L account is called as amortized. Guys, okay na? Once again, what is the process name? Amortization. The amount available in the P&L account is called as amortized. The amount available in the balance sheet is called as unamortized. Guys, okay na? So this is the overall accounting treatment of which one ma? Revenue expenses or deferred revenue expenses? Deferred revenue expenses. What is the accounting treatment of capital receipt? It should be disclosed under the liability side of balance sheet. Or what we can do ma? Or reducing the concerned asset which is disclosed in the asset side of balance sheet. Nothing but what ma? Sale of asset. Sale of asset means where we can disclose ma? We have to reduce the asset. Okay na? Taking the loan, where you need to disclose ma? Liability side of balance sheet. Okay na guys? The two examples we have discussed or not discussed. This revenue receipt means what ma? It should be recognized under the credit side of either trading or P&L account. Guys, okay na? So these are the overall 5 points we have discussed. Can anyone of the class, can you say the deferred revenue accounting treatment? What is the deferred revenue accounting treatment? What we have to do? Amortization. So amortization means the amount available in the P&L account and the amount should be available in the balance sheet asset side. So the amount available in the P&L account debit side is called as amortized. The amount available in the balance sheet is called as unamortized. What is the accounting treatment of capital expenditure? Asset side of the balance sheet. What is the accounting treatment of revenue expenditure? Debit side of P&L. Trading and P&L. What is the accounting treatment of revenue expenses? Debit side of trading and what is the accounting treatment of revenue receipt? Credit side of either trading account or pay. What is the accounting treatment of capital receipt? Balance sheet. Liability side. Sir, receipt means that is not an asset. Receipt means that is a liability. So why I am asking so many times means we have to write these points in the examination. That's all. Okay, now I will show you the examples. You have to identify whether it is a capital expenditure or revenue expenditure. Okay, please all of you drink some water. Okay. No water. You can take this. Okay, let us start. What we need to identify, whether it is a capital expenditure, revenue expenditure, or deferred revenue expenditure, or capital receipt, or revenue receipt. See the first question, You can open your books also. In the books also it is available, or no problem. Please watch this one. State whether the following are capital revenue or deferred revenue expenses. We have to decide whether it is a capital or revenue or deferred revenue. Carries of rupees how much, 7,500 spent on machinery purchased and installed. What is the type of expenditure? Capital expenditure. Nothing but bringing the asset into the current location or condition. So next one, heavy advertisement cost. Whatever heavy or whatever advertisement is a revenue expenses. So just what you need to write, it is a revenue expenditure. It should be disclosed under the debit side of either trading account or P&L account. Like that you have to write. For first point, it is a capital expenditure. We need to disclose under the balance sheet asset side. Okay. Rupees 200 spent for serving of a company vehicle, including what, 50 rupees paid for changing the oil. Just normal servicing will be there for the bikes. For that we are going to get any benefit, so we are going to decrease of any operating cost? No. Our performance of an asset will be fine, that's all. Okay, now our operating cost will not be decreases. Even though if you do the servicing, even though you are not going to do the service, the mileage we are getting how much? Same of 30 kilometers. Are you getting the point? Okay, now the performance will be smooth like that, that's all. So now it is end up in capital or revenue? Revenue expenses. Next, constructing of a basement costing how much, 1,95,000 at a factory premises. We are making one construction basement. We are incurring expenditure related to fixed asset or not related to fixed asset? Related to fixed asset. So that is the reason. Capital or revenue, capital expenses. See, the construction cost of a basement should be treated as what, capital expenditure. Just you are saying the capital expenditure, but you have to write what, is a capital expenditure and accounting treatment you wish to write. So that's all. Question 1 completed. See how simple it is. How many marks, 7 marks. For writing this question, how much time it will take? 5 minutes. Okay, within 2 minutes we cannot write. Okay, for girls means 7 to 8 minutes because they used to draw lines. So no. Okay. We have to put the notes of single rule only because we used to get answer sheet in rule, so single rule, not the double rule, 4 rule like that. Okay. State whether the following are capital or revenue expenses. Paid a bill of rupees how much, 10,000 of Mr. Kumar, who was engaged as a erection engineer. Erection means installation. Erection means what, install. So to test up a new automatic machine costing how much, 20,000 at the new factory site. So we are giving the amount to the erection engineer, installation engineer. So installation is a what, is a cost related to fixed asset. So that is the reason. Capital expenditure, revenue expenditure, capital expenditure. Incurred how much, 26,000 expenditure on various advertisement campaigns. Advertisement, what, revenue expenses on a regular basis during the peak festival season, whatever it is. So it is a festival, it is a peak or nothing. Advertisement means what, revenue expenses. In accordance with the long-term plan of providing a well-equipped labor welfare center, spent how much, 90,000 being the budget allocated for that year. There is a labor welfare center we are going to construct. Labor welfare center is nothing but a building or something. So this 90,000 is called as revenue expenditure, capital expenditure, ma? Capital expenditure. So did you get this point, ma? Labor welfare center. So next one, classify the following items as a capital or revenue expenses. An extension of a railway track in a factory area. Railway track will be there. I think you know. That railway track we are going to extend. So it is an asset or liability, asset for us. So capital expenditure, revenue expenditure, capital expenditure. Wages paid to mission operator, just wages paid to him. So where we can identify the wages, P&L account or trading account? Trading account. So installation cost of a new product mission. So capital expenditure. Material for an extension of a foreman's office in a factory. There will be some office for the employees. We are going to extend that office. So extension of a fixed asset is called as capital expenditure. Next, rent paid for the factory, revenue expenditure. Payment to the computer time to operate a new store control system. There is a store control system, like billing systems will be there. If you go to the tiffin shop like that, so for that billing system, there will be operators. For the operators, we used to pay what, ma? Salaries. The salary is a revenue expenditure, capital expenditure, revenue expenditure. Okay. Wages paid to own employees for building the foreman's office. So we are paying the wages to our own employees for the construction. Okay. What is called as, ma? Revenue expenditure, capital expenditure. Capital expenditure, we are paying for the purpose. You have to see the purpose, ma. What is the purpose here? For construction of a building or what, ma? For a construction of a building. That is the reason it is a capital expenditure. Anything for the purpose of fixed asset is called as a capital expenditure. We are paying wages for the production means revenue expenditure. We are paying salary for the construction. That means for a fixed asset or not a fixed asset. For a fixed asset, it is called as capital expenditure. Guys, okay na? Is there any doubt? For each of the cases numbered below, indicate whether it is an income or expenses is capital or revenue. Payment to the wages to one's own employees for the building. So we have seen just now. For our own employees for the purpose of construction. So that is the reason it is a capital expenditure. Don't forget this one. So regular hiring of a computer time for the preparation of forms account. So there is an accountant will be there. Okay. For in the business means we used to have what, transactions related to money. So for verifying those transactions, we have appointed one person. Okay na? Hiring a computer time means we used to pay the salary based on computer time. So that is the reason they used to call it as what, computer time. So computer time means you can classify it as salary. So it is a salary for a working in an organization. It is called as revenue expenses. So next one, the purchase of a new computer for use in the business. New computer means it is an asset. So whether it is a second hand or new, okay na? No need to confuse, ma. It is an asset means capital expenditure. Whether it is a second hand or first hand, we don't know. Okay. The use of motor vehicle hired for how many years? 5 years, but paid at every 6 months. So nothing but rent, ma. Rent paid for the vehicle is called as what, ma? Capital expenditure or revenue expenditure, ma. It is a revenue expenses. Next, state with the reason whether the following are capital or revenue expenses. So freight and cottage on the new machinery 150, what, ma? It is called as new machinery for bringing the asset into the present location, capital expenses. Fixtures of a book value is equal to how much, ma? 2,500. Fixtures means nothing but fans, we can call it as. Those are fixed now. Okay now, fans, lights, TV is going to call it as fixtures. Furniture means the big plans will be there now. Those are called it as what, ma? Sorry. Missionaries. Those are called it as what, ma? Missionaries. Fixtures means the items which are fixed to a certain wall like this. This is called as fixtures. Okay na? Next one. What is the total book value ma? 2500. So we have sold for how much? 1600, and a new fixtures of the value of 4000 were acquired. Cottage on the purchase is equal to how much? 100. Okay, now what is the total capital expenditure ma? 4000 is a capital expenditure and 100 is also a capital expenditure. So this 2000, the value how much we have sold ma? 1600. Even though it is 1600, how much we have to reduce from the asset value? 2500. The asset value will be reduced by how much? 2500. The gap between these two, we used to transfer to the P&L account. It is a loss, it is a gain. It is a loss, capital loss, normal loss, capital loss. So capital loss will be transferred to the P&L account, debit side. It is a loss now. Guys, are you getting that? Now say the total expenditure ma, 4000 plus 100, that is equal to how much? 4100. Here the value of the asset will be increases, value of asset will be decreases. Value of asset will be decreases by how much? The total book value we used to decrease 2500. The gap between these two you used to transfer to debit side of P&L account. See this one. The loss on the fixture is equal to how much ma? 900. 900 should be treated as capital loss or normal loss or ma? Capital loss. The cost of a new fixtures and a carriage thereon should be how much ma? Capital expenditure will be become 4100. Is there any doubts ma? Okay na? Next one. The sum of rupees 400 was spent on painting the factory. Painting ma. The painting we used to get more than 1 year or less than 1 year? Painting means less than 1 year. Whitewash, they used to call it as what ma? Whitewash. Whitewash means? What is the meaning of whitewash? So no. Okay na. First you used to wear the whitewash and then we used to paint. Guys, you don't know or no? What first? Before painting we have to incur the cost of whitewash, whether it is a whitewash or whether it is a painting. So all it has cost, all we are going to classify it as revenue expenses or capital expenses. Revenue expenses. Next one, 8200 spent for repair before using the second hand car purchasing recently to put to use. So this cost we used to add back to the asset because it is a capital expenses. So next one, try this one ma. Can you say the first one? Rupees 350 was spent on repairing a second hand, the same transaction we have seen. Okay. So next one, a sum of rupees how much ma? 30,000 were paid as a compensation to employees who were retrenched. So retrenched means so it is one of the activity like while leaving the company we used to pay what ma? Compensations. So for a loss of pay like that, because they used to have what ma? They used to have the time for the service. Before retirement only the company is going to lay off that particular employee. What we need to pay? We need to pay the compensation. We should not pay the compensation. We should pay the compensation. That fellow have not done any misappropriation like that. Okay na? But what we are doing ma? Out of respect we are laying off that person before completion of service time. Okay na? Normally what is the service time? 60 years like that will be there na? We are going to lay off at the age of 57 based on her or he health problems like that. So we are paying how much the compensation? 30,000. So this is a normal expenditure, revenue expenditure, capital expenditure. Normal expenditure. Okay now we are paying anything related to the employees a normal but not related to fixed asset. So next one, rupees 150 was paid in connection with the carriage of goods purchased ma. On the goods purchased means it is a capital expenditure, revenue expenditure. Goods purchased. We are not purchasing the asset. We are purchasing what ma? Goods. So that is the reason it is a revenue expenditure, capital expenditure. Revenue expenditure. Okay, now if you purchase the fixed asset means it is a capital expenditure. 20,000 customs duty is paid on import of a machinery for modernization of the factory production during the current year of rupees how much ma? And 6,000 is paid on import duty on purchase of raw material. You have paid two types of import duties, custom duty and import duty. So these are the taxes. These are the taxes which are going to levy on the import of any item out of our country. Okay, now out of our country. So how much we are paying ma? 20,000 custom duty in relation to what ma? In relation to the machinery, in relation to the gooda, in relation to the machinery. And 6,000 is the cost incurred in relation to what ma? Purchase of raw material. So 6,000 is called as revenue expenditure and 20,000 is called as capital expenditure, because for the purpose of fixed asset 20,000, for the purpose of raw material 6,000. Okay na? Okay, next one. 18,000 interest had accrued during the year on the term loan obtained and utilized for the construction of a factory building. We have taken one loan ma. For which purpose we have used that particular loan? For the purpose of construction of a building. So that is the reason this 18,000 we have to classify it as capital or revenue. Capital expenditure or revenue expenditure. Capital expenditure. Guys, okay na? The 18,000 interest had accrued during the year on the long term obtained. We have utilized it for the purpose of what ma? Obtained means nothing but we have taken a loan. What we need to pay? Interest. For what purpose we are using that particular amount? For the purpose of construction of a building. So this will be, this point again I used to cover in AS 16. So before that we have seen one standard, AS 26. That is called as what ma? Intangible assets. AS 16 is nothing but borrowing cost. Again we are going to cover. So this point we used to cover there again once again. Okay na? Respond ra. Oh. Interest pay normally is a P&L account, okay na? But for the purpose, for which purpose we are paying the interest? For the purpose of construction. So there is a separate standard on that, on the borrowing cost. We can discuss up to the construction happening. Up to the construction happening, add to the cost of construction. After completion of a construction, even though you are paying the interest, means we used to transfer to the P&L account. They will classify there. Okay na? So is there any doubts? Okay. On the purchase of machineries, however, the production has not commenced till the last date of accounting year. Here the production started or not started? Not started now. If the production is started, start to end, start date to end date, we used to transfer to the, we used to add back to the building cost. But here the production not started na, we used to call it as what ma? Even though production pre-construction na, pre-construction period. So here this is treated as what ma? Capital expenditure. You are going to get more clarity in AS 16. Okay now. Except this point. So I think you have got a clear idea about first, second and third and fourth. Okay na? So next one. This is last question. This is the last question. We can go. Okay. Please be very active for this last question. State with the reasons whether the following item related to P Sagar Mill Limited or capital or revenue. Sir, we are having a sugar mill. We are having what ma? Sugar mill. So keep in mind this one. Okay, and say the answers. 50,000 received from issue of shares, including how much ma? 10,000 by way of the premium. Okay. Issue of shares means it is a capital, it is a revenue. Share. By way of issue of share, we are receiving how much? 50,000. This is a capital. Capital receipt or revenue receipt? Capital receipt. Okay na. Regularly we used to issue the shares. So regularly we visit the stock exchanges. No. So that is the reason. Recurring or non-recurring? Non-recurring. Non-recurring means capital receipt. Whether it is recurring means it is a revenue receipt. Purchase of agriculture land for the mill. You have purchased the agricultural land for the mill for rupees 60,000 and 500 was paid for the land revenue for a period after the purchase. So land revenue means it is a type of tax. We are paying the land revenue taxes. So we are paying for the purpose of fixed asset. So that is the reason we used to call it as what ma? Capital expenditure. Next, 5,000 paid as a contribution to PWD. Public PWD means for improving the roads on sugar. Okay. So there may be a one board like that. Okay na? So one board for the purpose of what ma? Sugar producing area. You are paying a contribution to that particular board. Okay, payment of a contribution for the particular board. So it is a normal type of expenses. So it is a revenue expenditure or capital expenditure? Revenue expenditure. Next, like for the farmers, we are going to start one bank. So like that, there will be one board. Okay, if you take an example, in the cities like we used to see the gold shop, means the gold shop will be, the overall gold shop will be in only one area. Okay na? In order to control the total area, they used to form one board. For that board, there may be a chairman like that. They used to pay what ma? Certain considerations for development of the street or security purposes, whatever it is. So for payment of those boards, we used to pay every month or every year like that. So this is called as revenue expenditure, capital expenses, revenue expenses. So next, rupees 40,000 paid for excise duty on sugar manufactured for the purpose of good or for the purpose of asset? For the purpose of good. So what is our mill? Sugar. Sugar is a good for us. For the purpose of good, we are incurring any expenditure, means it is called as a revenue expenses. So 70,000 spent for constructing the railway side links. Railway side link means the tracks. So that is called as fixed asset or capital asset. Fixed asset or good fixed asset. So that is called as capital expenditure or revenue expenditure, capital expenditure. And we have missed this one, including what ma? 10,000 by way of premium. So we have received the premium. Premium is also income expenses, income. So, okay na? This is also we have received at the time of collecting the shares only. So this will be treated as a revenue receipt or capital receipt. This premium will be treated as capital receipt. You will get a total picture in the second group only. Okay na? We can issue, for example, normally the face value of a share will be there. Face value means the value recorded in company documents. Okay na? There may be a document called as MOA or AOA. Have you listened anything related to memorandum of association, articles of the amount available in the MOA is called as face value per share. Face value per share. For example, 10 rupees or 100 rupees will be there. Okay now, but if you see in the market prices, nowadays the market prices will be more or will be less, will be more. For example, 1,000 rupees is there market value. How much is the market? 1,000. So generally the face value is equal to 100 rupees. Okay na? Now what is the premium amount? The extra more than face value is totally, we are going to call it as what ma? Premium. So premium, how much ma? Difference between 1,000 and 100 is equal to how much ma? 900. So this 900 is also a capital. This 100 is also a capital. Overall, we should consider it as capital receipt or revenue receipt? Capital receipt. Is there any doubt? But we used to call it as what ma? This 100 rupees is called as capital, but this 900 rupees is called as securities premium. Okay, now only the face value to be transferred to the capital. The remaining amount we should transfer to the another name called as what ma? Securities premium. Whatever the name we are going to call, at the end of the point we are receiving the amount from the public. Okay, now this is called as a capital receipt. Okay, now we are receiving the amount from the public for the purpose of sale of goods. That is called as a revenue receipt. We are selling the goods, we are taking the capital. We are taking the capital. Is there any doubts, ma? So these are the point. Okay, did you understand this PWD? PWD means certain board will be there. For that board we used to pay what ma? Like amounts, fixed amounts, like for the purpose of electricity or for the purpose of security, whatever it is. So this is the overall concept about what ma? Capital and revenue transactions. How many marks? 7 marks. Okay. Can we take any exam question in order to get more confidence from your side? So please wait a second. Ah, this is the question from December 2024. Okay, and what is your last attempt? December 2025. They have given in the 2025 December also. What ma Kaplan revenue, the same concept. The same transactions what we have discussed na, those are more sufficient. Okay, now from there only we used to get the all the transactions. So same. What is the first one they are saying? State the reason whether the following is a capital expenditure or revenue expenditure. So next one. What is the first one, ma? Expenses incurred in connection with an obtaining of a license for starting the factory of rupees how much, ma? 10,000. Okay. What is your assumption? License taken for capital. The validity will be there for the license. Okay, na? Less than 1 year also will be there, or more than 1 year also will be there. We don't know. License fee is a revenue expenditure. Okay, na? License fee is a revenue expenditure. Okay, na? Don't take it as a license. It is a capital expenditure. License means normal amount we are paying to the government. It is also a one type of tax like that. So all the taxes we classify it as what, ma? Revenue expenditure. Well, if it is for the purpose of fixed asset means it is called as a capital expenses. Rupees 1,000 paid for removal of a stock at a new site. So for the removal of the stock, ma, we are paying the amount. It is a normal expenses or capital expenses, normal expenses. So next, there may be a rings and there may be a some pistons of an engine were changed at a cost of rupees how much, ma? 5,000 to get a full efficiency. That means here the efficiency increases or not increases? Increases. So it is used to call it as what, ma? Capital expenses. Next, rupees 2,000 spent as a lawyer fee to obtain a suit claimed that the firm's factory site belongs to the plaintiff. The suit was not successful. Normal legal fees where you can see in a P&L account, in a balance sheet, in a P&L account, revenue expenditure, capital expenditure, revenue expenses. Okay, na? So remember, license fees, lawyer fees are revenue expenses. Next, rupees 10,000 were spent on advertisement. Is called as what, ma? Revenue expenses. A factory shed was constructed at a cost of rupees 1 lakh. Of rupees 5,000 had been incurred for the construction of a temporary huts for storing what, ma? Building materials. So for the construction of a building, we have constructed one temporary huts for storing of bricks, iron like that. Now the cost incurred how much, ma? For construction of a temporary huts, 5,000 had been incurred for the purpose of temporary huts, and factory shed construction purpose how much we have incurred? 1 lakh. What is the factory shed cost, ma? First of all, factory constructed is 1 lakh rupees. We used to call it as what, ma? Capital expenditure. This 5,000 also we have incurred, we have not incurred. We have incurred for the purpose of what, ma? For the purpose of building. So that is the reason this 5,000 we used to call it as what, ma? Capital expenses. So there is a debate on this generally. If 5,000 we should consider it as revenue expenditure because the benefit less than 1 year like. But purpose is important here. For which purpose we are constructing is important. Next, a pair of buffaloes of rupees how much, ma? 50,000 were killed by lightning. Killed by lightning. So what is the meaning of lightning? Lightning in Telugu. Because of that lightning, what happened ma? Our buffaloes we have lost. So reducing the asset balance. So just you can write like that. This is not an, this is one type of expenditure. So because of we are losing the asset. So reducing the asset means consider it as what ma? Capital receipt. Reducing the asset means we consider it as capital. Even though we are not received, what is happening here? Our asset balance decreases. We are going to get a loss. But we should classify it as capital receipt like that. Okay na? Or we can say it is not an expenditure, it is a one type of loss. It is called as a capital loss. So whatever it is, you can write there. So is there ma? What is our ultimate conclusion ma? Advertisement, revenue expenditure. License, revenue expenditure. Lawyer fee, revenue expenditure. Next, any expenditure incurred but the benefit efficiency not increased, then it is called as a revenue expenses. If the efficiency increases, it is called as capital expenditure. Servicing of a machinery, it is a revenue expenditure. One spare part we have changed, that is called as it is a capital expenditure. If the benefit not increases means it is a revenue expenses. Is there any doubts ma? So one last time, revenue expenditure will be disclosed in dash. Trading and P&L account, debit side. Capital expenditure will be disclosed in dash. Balance sheet, other side. Next, deferred revenue expenditure, accounting treatment is called as dash. Amortization. Amortized means in P&L account which side? Unamortized means balance sheet, asset side. Next, capital receipt, accounting treatment. Revenue receipt will be in the P&L account or trading account or credit side. So, and we have seen certain examples, easily you can write. So thank you, have a nice day. Bye bye.